Hello, I am Ryan.
Hello, I am Amy. Welcome to Listen to English Podcast.
Today, we're going to be talking about something I think a lot of English learners, think about, which is how to speak fast,
Yeah,
but still sound smart, right?
right.
Sometimes you hear someone speaking English really quickly,
Yeah,
and it's just so impressive. It sounds so fluent.
absolutely.
But I'm curious, what are your thoughts on speed being like the number one thing that people should try to go for?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it's something that comes up all the time with students, wanting to speak quickly because it sounds cool, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It does. It sounds like you're fluent, but studies show that, if you're just speaking quickly and your words aren't clear, people might not understand you at all. And that defeats the purpose of communication, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like, if you're trying to get all your groceries into one bag,
Yeah,
you
exactly.
can't do it.
You can't shove it all in.
So if we're not aiming to sound like an auctioneer, what's the secret? How do we balance this need for speed and clarity?
Well, it appears that the key is something called strategic pausing. It's about understanding that speaking fast doesn't mean speaking without taking any breaks. It's about emphasizing important words and using short pauses to break up your sentences, giving your listener time to process what you're saying.
I see.
Yeah.
So, can you give me an example? What do you mean by that?
Sure. So let's take a simple sentence like, I went to the store to buy some milk. Okay.
Okay.
Now imagine saying that again, but this time emphasizing the words store and milk and adding little pauses after those words. Listen, I went to the store to buy some milk.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
That does sound a lot
Yeah.
easier to understand and a lot more natural, too,
More natural.
even though it's still at a good pace.
Exactly. And what's fascinating is this is how native speakers naturally talk. They don't rush through every word.
Yeah.
They instinctively know how to emphasize and pause to make it sound good and easy to understand.
It's almost like you're giving every word, every important word, its own little spotlight on a stage.
Yeah, like a little beat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really interesting. I was thinking about it, and it's kind of like music,
Yeah,
too, right?
it is.
Like how musicians,
You have rests and
yeah, they have rests
different dynamics.
and different dynamic that all adds to the musicality.
Exactly. And fluency is like that, too. It has a musicality to it.
Yeah, and speaking of sounding natural,
Mm-hmm.
I've noticed that a lot of fluent speakers use a lot of what should we call them?
Yeah.
Like smart phrases.
Smart phrases. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are great.
They just seem to roll off the tongue so easily.
They do. They do.
And they make you sound so much more fluent.
Yeah, smart phrases are those little nuggets of language that native speakers use all the time
Yeah.
without even thinking about it, and they add that naturalness and that flow to the speech that can be hard to achieve if you're always translating in your head.
Oh, absolutely.
You know?
I can totally relate to that.
Yeah.
Do you have any specific examples that we could try to incorporate?
Yeah, definitely. So instead of saying, I do not know, try saying, I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Or instead of saying, let me check, you can say, let me check.
Let me check.
Yeah, you see? And these might seem like really small changes, but they can make a big difference in how natural you sound.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
But I do have one concern, though.
Yeah.
Are there situations where maybe you shouldn't use these?
Yeah, that's a good point. While these phrases are great for everyday conversations, it's probably best to avoid using them too much in formal situations, like a job interview, or if you're giving a big presentation.
Yeah.
You want to sound professional,
Right.
so you got to find the right balance.
It's all about context, right?
It is all about context.
Awesome. So we've talked about strategic pausing. We've talked about these smart phrases.
Yeah.
But let's be honest, there's one thing that is kind of above all, that's really going to help you with your fluency.
What is that?
I think it's practice.
It is practice. Yes, you hit the nail on the head.
If you want to be able to speak quickly and confidently
That's clearly
and clearly you're going to have to practice every day.
every day. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just you have to immerse yourself in the language and
Yes.
then it'll become more natural.
Exactly.
So I know that you are a big fan of the shadowing technique.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that and why it's so helpful?
Yeah, so shadowing basically involves finding a recording of a native English speaker. It could
Yes.
be a video, a podcast, whatever you like, and then repeating what they say, trying to match their speed, their rhythm, and their intonation as closely as possible.
I see.
So you're basically their shadow.
Yeah, you're training your tongue
You're training your tongue to move in the same
in the same way.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's really interesting.
And the great thing about shadowing is that it helps you work on several things at once. So it helps you with your pronunciation, it helps you with your intonation, the rhythm of your speech, and it can even help you learn new vocabulary.
Yeah.
And there's so many resources online that you can use for shadowing practice.
Absolutely. Yeah, like YouTube and podcasts.
Exactly.
And you can also shadow videos too,
Right? Yes, you can.
which I think is also helpful because then you can see like the body language and stuff.
Absolutely, because communication's not just about words, right?
Right.
It's all those nonverbal cues as
Yeah.
well.
So shadowing's great.
It is great.
But we don't have to just do shadowing.
No.
There's other things we can do too, like
Yeah.
reading aloud.
Reading aloud, that's a good one.
No, it sounds kind of like
Old school.
old school.
Yeah. But,
It works.
yeah, how does reading aloud help us speak better?
Well, it might seem basic, but reading aloud can do wonders for your fluency. It helps you get comfortable with pronouncing words clearly at a faster pace,
Okay.
and it trains the muscles in your mouth to move more smoothly and efficiently.
And it's also a great way to expand your vocabulary
Yeah.
and discover new phrases that you can then use in your own speaking.
So you're saying if I just pick up a book
Pick up a book.
and read a couple pages out loud.
Out loud. Yeah, that will help me speak more confidently.
Yeah.
It will really help.
Wow, that's amazing.
It is.
So it sounds like the main thing is just to be consistent, right?
Consistency is key. Yeah.
If you can put in even just like 10, 15 minutes every day
Every day, just a little bit.
of shadowing or reading aloud,
Exactly.
then that's going to make a big difference in the long run.
It will. It will.
Awesome. So let's just recap a little bit about what we talked about today.
Okay.
We talked about strategic pausing,
Yes.
making sure that you give those important words a little bit of space
A little space to breathe.
to breathe.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes. And to make it sound good.
And we talked about using smart phrases
Yes.
to sound more natural and more fluent.
And like a native speaker. Yeah.
And of course, the most important thing is to practice every day.
Every day.
Yeah. Using techniques like shadowing and reading aloud.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So yeah, fluency in English is a journey, not a destination.
That's a good way to put it, yeah.
And, by focusing on these techniques and practicing consistently, you'll get there.
Exactly.
You'll reach your goals.
It's all about taking those small steps
yeah.
and being patient with yourself.
Yeah.
And who knows, maybe one day people will be listening to you and be like, wow,
I wish I could speak like that.
I wish I could speak like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me
And until next time,
on Listen to English podcast.
bye.
If you enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe. It really helps our channel grow and reach more English learners like you. By subscribing, you'll never miss a new episode, and by liking the video, you're letting us know you want more helpful content. Thank you for your support. It means so much to us.